Hey everybody, welcome back to the Thinking Crypto channel, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. Big news today, my friends. Arizona has introduced a bill to make Bitcoin a legal tender. That's right, a state within the United States has done this. Very bullish news and game theories playing out. I want to break down the details there. In addition to that, we have a lot of crypto regulation news to talk about, with bills being introduced, what folks are saying about what Biden's executive order could be about, and what different members of Congress are saying. There's a lot going on here, and it makes me think that something big is coming, because I'll give you the context. Russia has just done a 180 and they're bullish on crypto, and just a lot of adoption news and dialogue happening. So I think the next few weeks are going to be very interesting. We also have news around Google, and specifically Google Cloud may start accepting crypto very soon. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And watch, Amazon is right behind them. In addition, we have Fidelity launching a Metaverse ETF. Of course they are. Guys, this market is just heating up. Prices will follow all these news items eventually. So I want to break it all down for you. Before we get to it, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment below and hit the subscribe button if you're new here. It helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. If you're listening on a podcast site, please give me a 5-star rating. Now, this content is brought to you by Algorand, which is building the future of finance. Algorand is one of the leading blockchain projects in the crypto industry. It is getting significant adoption and investments. Both Michael Arrington and Anthony Scaramucci's hedge funds have invested hundreds of millions of dollars to build out the Algorand ecosystem. So if you would like to learn more, please visit algorand.com. Now, if we take a look at the crypto prices here, once again, as we've been seeing over the past week or so, Bitcoin is still moving sideways, hovering between 32,000 to 38,000, just bouncing around there. Right now, it's over $37,000, and the alts are not really doing anything. And like we've been talking about, the alts are essentially waiting for Bitcoin to find its bottom and then have a retracement, which I believe could go to the 55 to the 58K range. So on the daily chart, we're seeing some green candles. If you look at the weekly chart here, we see some level of a, let me clear this out, some level of a green candle forming. So maybe on Sunday, we close out with a green candle. But at the end of the day, that means nothing, in my opinion. Yes, it's good to see that, but we need to let Bitcoin find its bottom. It's in price discovery mode right now. And then once it's found its bottom, then we can move upwards. Some are predicting that the bull market continues and Bitcoin goes to 6 figures later this year. Some are saying it has the retracement and then it goes into a bear market, then we get alt season. At this point, I don't know which one of those scenarios are going to play out, but I'm going to be prepared for both. And the alt season starting would be a great indication to get an idea of, okay, Bitcoin is done. That's it. It's a wrap, right? So we'll just have to wait and see. We just got to be patient. But nevertheless, things are progressing. And here's some interesting news from Will Clement, who does some great analysis. He said some fairly heavy whale buying over the last week. Very interesting. Now, this is the data in the charts, shows that whale balances and holdings are increasing, and that is over 1,000 Bitcoin within the respective wallets and so forth. So you see a spike here on the chart. That's a good sign. They're buying the dip in anticipation, I think, of higher prices coming. So we shall see what happens and see how things play out. Now, here's someone who could be considered a whale. He is a millionaire. Dave Portnoy is back, my friends. Mr. Lettuce Hands himself. But he claims he has diamond hands this time around. He has evolved. Well, he tweeted, effed around and bought 29 Bitcoins today. Interesting. At a price of $36,924.86 per Bitcoin, total purchase value of over $1 million. So that's awesome, Dave. I wish I was a millionaire and can buy that many Bitcoins, but it's a good sign. I kid and I make fun of him a little bit, but the fact that he's back and even after all the trashing and condemnation he got on social media. He's back and he's saying, "Hey, look, I learned my lesson." So good to have him back. Dave's not a bad guy. I think he's funny, and obviously he's a creator of Barstool Sports, and I used to read that website's content when I was younger. So good to have Dave back. Now, here's the big news, my friends. State Senator introduces bill to make Bitcoin legal tender in Arizona. Wow, guys, this is huge. It was actually first broken by Dennis Porter here, and it is legit. It's verified on the website, on the government website, and the state senator is Wendy Rogers. Now, not getting political, I'm not saying I support her or I don't support her or whatever, right? Because some people get triggered by certain types of politicians, but we're just reporting the news here. So Wendy Rogers said, "This is my bill." And then she also tweeted, "Welcome to all of the Bitcoin people. I love you all." Wow, guys, we're seeing some incredible game theory playing out here. And it was just a matter of time. And there was also one politician out of Texas who was saying if he got into office, he would also make Bitcoin a legal tender. So watch over the next maybe few weeks or a couple months, you're going to see some other states put forward bills as well. Now, there was a statement reported here by CoinDesk saying the US Constitution doesn't allow individual states to create their own legal tender. Now, that is a big caveat. However, Arizona is not creating a tender. It already exists. So we'll see how this plays out. Obviously, this is just being introduced. Doesn't mean it's going to get passed. But guys, this is a bullish sign of things to come. And remember, there can be amendments made to the Constitution. So we shall see how this plays out. This is incredibly bullish news. And I was surprised by this. So let me give you some more details. The bill SB 1341 was introduced by State Senator Wendy Rogers, a Republican. It seeks to amend the list of accepted legal tender to include Bitcoin, which means the cryptocurrency could be or would be accepted for the payment of debt, public charges, taxes, and other dues. Now, they did highlight here whether such a law could go into effect is questionable, given the United States Constitution doesn't allow individual states to create their own legal tender. The bill must pass the Arizona State Senate and House before Governor Doug Ducey, a Republican, could sign it into law. So we shall see what happens here, my friends. But I think this is the first domino to fall here, and others will follow. And I think we're seeing a big movement of different states being pro-crypto. Obviously, Mayor Francis Suarez out of Miami, huge crypto advocate. We see other states are like Wyoming as well, doing some great things. And I think more and more of these states are going to do this, and they're going to attract jobs. And crypto is going to be a big part of their economy. So very bullish news, my friends. And remember, El Salvador is really the only country out there that has Bitcoin as a legal tender. But I also expect other Latin American countries to do the same thing. We're seeing rumblings and rumors and talks of other folks planning to introduce legislation to do so. So incredibly bullish news. Now, along those lines, I want to put some things into context and look at this thing holistically. I tweeted out today, something big is happening, and the next few weeks will be very interesting. The following is happening at the same time. We got news that Biden will issue a crypto executive order looking to get multiple government agencies to start studying and providing, I guess, clarity and regulations around crypto. Now, it still remains to be seen how heavy he will come down on crypto, and I'll talk a bit about that as well. But Russia, all of a sudden, and we heard it not from a secondary source, but Putin himself came out and said, hey, finance ministry and central bank, get your crap together and regulate crypto, and that Russia has an advantage when it comes to Bitcoin mining. So that is happening at the same time. And then you have this Arizona bill that gets introduced. And then all of a sudden we saw Turkey also, their prime minister was like, hey, we need to start studying crypto and so forth. So we're seeing just dialogue happening among some of the largest superpowers and countries in the world. And just all these things happening in parallel is very, very interesting. And I think something may be coming big. And I don't mean bad, but I think good. I think all of this is good, with the caveat that Biden, we don't know what the details are. And my thesis is I don't think he's going to come down heavy-handed on crypto. Here's why. It's an election year, and the midterm elections are coming up, and he has a low approval rating right now, and other people are talking about this and reporting on this, and Democrats are not looking good right now. If he takes this stance, this will be another bullet. Well, I shouldn't use that word because sometimes people get triggered. This is another item that the Republicans can hit the Democrats over the head with. Like, oh, you see, they're anti-innovation, they're anti-crypto, and it could decimate the Democrats in the midterm elections. So let's see what happens. But look, there is the possibility he can so screw this up big time. This could be a disaster. But I'm hoping he doesn't. I'm hoping he's not listening to Janet Yellen and Gary Gensler, but rather the other members of Congress who are fighting this. And we do have some insight here from Ian Calderon, who is a former majority leader of the California State Assembly. He tweeted out, the White House looking at cryptocurrencies and how to regulate shouldn't be interpreted as negative. If anything, regulation brings legitimacy and broader adoption. More people participating is good. You can't get there without a minimum level of consumer protection. Now, I get that. I agree with that in principle, that you need to protect consumers. You need to stop the scams because, look, there are scams in every market, right? Even if in real estate, there are people scamming people. If it's Forex trading, there's people scamming people in Forex trade. That exists. The good and the bad comes with everything, right? That's just human nature, civilization. You can't get around that. But they need to make sure they walk that fine line of regulating without stifling innovation, without having these crypto companies hang in the balance, not knowing about, okay, is this a security? Is this not a security? Should we do this? What are we doing, right? So that is to be seen, and that's why we need to see what Biden comes out with. It's reported that next week is when it's going to happen, but it could happen over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We'll just have to wait and see. But, I once again, I'm optimistic, and I see a lot of things happening as well, like this. For example, let me give you the block article title here. Crypto leaders launch political action committee to back congressional candidates. So the lobbying is going to start here, and it's going to be pretty heavy. So a cadre of crypto industry leaders announced Friday the formation of a new political action committee, which is a PAC, the latest sign that crypto riches made in recent years are bleeding into the American political system, and the executives want to influence election outcomes. So we got this going on. This is positive, my friends. And we've been talking about this. The crypto industry needs to lobby because guess what? The traditional financial world, the banks, they lobby hard, my friends. Money in politics, right? Campaign donations. We've talked about, these guys will donate to certain regulators and politicians, and they'll get laws in their favor. We've seen that over and over. You just study American politics and you see that. So dubbed the GMI PAC, the new committee will back congressional candidates in the 2022 midterm elections who work to give consumers and innovators the opportunity to build and use the next generation technologies, services here in America. So very bullish news here. And let me give you some details as to who's participating, the donors. The PAC's founding donors and board of directors include CMS Holdings co-founder Dan Matuszewski, Framework Ventures co-founder Vance Spencer, and FTX Digital Markets CEO Ryan Salame or whatever it may be. Multicoin Capital, Masari, and Blockchain Capital are also backing the PAC. Anthony Scaramucci's Skybridge Capital is another backer. The PAC plans to spend more than $20 million in the 2022 cycle and is currently evaluating candidates in Texas ahead of the March 1st primary. So this is great news, very bullish news. It's what we need. This is how the system works. And many of you know that, right? So the crypto industry needs to come in, pool their money together, start backing the pro-crypto candidates. I just interviewed one the other day, which is Erica Rhodes out of California. She's trying to kick Brad Sherman out. We know Mr. Mongoose Coin himself, he's anti-crypto, and he's heavily lobbied by pawn shops and the people who control, payday loans and banks and so forth. So he's trying to stop crypto. We got to get these people like him out. So this is great news. Very progressive here, and I like what I'm seeing. So let's continue. We also have great senators and congressmen and congresswomen like Senator Cynthia Lummis, who I've interviewed on the channel. She tweeted out the following, saying facial recognition for taxpayers, which that's a whole nother story by itself. But she said, giving this Treasury Secretary power to ban Bitcoin plus digital assets, intrusive reporting requirements for banking, absolute lunacy. Each stands in opposition to first principles. I will fight every one of these intrusions into the American life and commerce. So the great thing is we got more members of Congress fighting. And then you got the PACs now forming. So the money's coming. All great news. So hopefully Biden, man, he doesn't do anything crazy or dumb. He could really go down in history if he does this thing right. And it could really spark the next what the World Economic Forum called the fourth industrial revolution, and the United States could be in the lead. But I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't trust these politicians. And look, a lot of them are Democrats who are coming out against crypto. Not all. I want to make sure that's clear, because we do have bipartisan support. Like we have Darren Soder, Democrat out of Florida, Ro Khanna out of California, Erica Rhodes, many folks, right, who are pro-crypto on the Democrat side. But you got some big names like the hypocrite Elizabeth Warren, obviously Yellen and Gary Gensler, but they're more regulators. So we got to stop these people. We got to vote them out. I'm glad things are moving in the direction to do that. Now, Brock Pierce, blast from the past, crypto OG, and I'm actually trying to get an interview with him. Many of you may know him from the Mighty Ducks movie. He was a child star, and he's been in the crypto market for a long time. He's one of those OGs, man. He's been here a long time. Well, he's been meeting with members of Congress, which is great. And he's got money, he's got power, he's got influence. So I like what I'm seeing here, and he's out there meeting, man. It's just awesome. And like I said, I'm going to try to get an interview with him so we can get some details. Now, speaking of the SEC, Hester Pierce voicing her concerns or dissatisfaction with the SEC not approving Bitcoin spot ETF. She said, the string of Bitcoin spot ETP denials has continued into 2022. The rationale underlying them doesn't get any better with time. Absolutely right. And that is because Gary Gensler, the bankster puppet, blocking it because he knows if they approve this, the money will flow out of the banks and into these ETFs. Jamie Dimon and the Goldman Sachs guys, they don't like that. They don't want that. What they would love to do is to be the ones getting the Bitcoin ETF approval themselves. So it could be Gary stalling for them to introduce theirs, and theirs gets approved. It wouldn't surprise me. We know this, once again, the money and the power pull here, and the incumbents are fighting back hard, clearly with Elizabeth Warren, Yellen, and Gensler, right? Now, some big news. Despite all of the challenges that we're facing right now, progress continues to be made. Google Cloud could soon accept Bitcoin and crypto after launching its blockchain unit. Blockworks spoke with Google and can confirm that Google Cloud could soon accept Bitcoin and crypto. Google is also already on the search for multiple blockchain experts. Now, we've been tracking Google's moves. Walmart's been doing stuff, Amazon, all these big names. They're all getting ready to adopt crypto in one way or the other. Over the years, those of you who have been my OG subscribers, I've talked about the scenarios. One, putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Two, creating their own crypto. Three, integrating crypto payments, being able to accept and people to spend and buy stuff and yada, yada. So very bullish news. And remember, if Google makes a move like this, Amazon's not far behind, Apple's not far behind. Game theory will play out here. So things are progressing, my friends, and they have to capitulate, even if they were anti-crypto and against it. This thing is becoming a behemoth. It's a global asset class, a disruptive technology. They have to get on board or they will be left behind. Now, look at this. Fidelity, with $8 trillion of assets under management. We know they're bullish on crypto. They've been mining Bitcoin. They have their own digital assets arm called Fidelity Digital Assets. They got a Bitcoin ETF approved in Canada, which is trading on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So they're bullish on crypto. Well, they filed to launch a Metaverse ETF and a crypto industry ETF. So obviously the SEC, we reported yesterday, denied their spot ETF, the Bitcoin spot ETF. But what we're seeing, these guys are building ETFs around the company. So if it's the miners or the companies that are building the infrastructure, they're creating ETFs, which is smart. Another way to drive more investments into the market indirectly, right? And I've always stated to you guys that the folks who are investing in the companies and the infrastructure, they're not doing that to lose money. They want to make a return. And in order for them to make a return, the market has to be doing well. The market can't die, right? Then how are these companies going to make money? The market has to grow. So they're expecting growth. And with growth comes higher prices. So once you connect that, the business aspect and the outlook that these people are investing millions and billions of dollars, you know what they're expecting. And I hope you see it as well. You're not just looking at the price every day, but you're looking at the business aspect and the investment aspect. Why are these big players, many of who took big bets in Web 2 technology and even Web 1, right? Look at Andreessen Horowitz. And we're actually going to talk a bit about Katie Hahn. Those folks who helped build Netscape and they were in Web 1, then they invested in Web 2, now they're investing in Web 3. And they're not the only ones, obviously, but they're betting on the next phase of the internet, my friends. Big things ahead. Now, look at this, $76 billion asset manager WisdomTree to launch a wallet allowing users to buy Bitcoin and crypto. Everybody's trying to build their own on and off ramp and solution. Called WisdomTree Prime, the app is designed to offer DeFi attributes such as choice, transparency, and inclusivity. They also reported that they saw their Bitcoin and crypto assets under management increase over 5x in Q4 of 2021. So all these big players are seeing an influx of capital. More and more institutions and wealthy individuals are putting money in crypto. Now, Catherine Hahn, I said Katie, Catherine Hahn, who was part of A16Z, and she just branched off and started her own fund. Well, she tweeted out the following today: "I'm delighted to share that Chris Lehane, former SVP of Policy and Communications at Airbnb, will be joining my new firm as Chief Strategy Officer to support our portfolio and to help run the campaign for crypto." And I think she's already got like $900 million, if I remember correctly, in the portfolio. So, guys, the capital is coming in. It's milk and honey. I will, I've said this over and over ad nauseum at this point, that if you are an entrepreneur and you're looking to build into crypto, my God, this is the perfect time. You would easily be able to get capital, in my opinion, but better than any other time we've seen in the past. It's milk and honey time right now. You can go out there, just raise $5 million, $10 million, and get your project off the ground. It's an amazing time, guys. It reminds me of the dot-com boom in the 90s. Yes, there was a bubble pop, but that didn't mean that the technology wasn't real and the adoption. With any great technology, there will come a level of speculation, right? And obviously the way this market is set up as a global asset class, you're going to see ridiculous amount of capital. I've talked about the sovereign wealth funds, and I think Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, Shark Tank, he's talked a lot about it as well. He's been going to the Middle East trying to get the sovereign wealth funds to put money into crypto, and it's coming, my friends. It's coming. So, she goes into Chris and talks about him, but see what's happening also, that people are leaving the traditional tech world and finance world. Another example, coming into crypto. Very bullish news. And I go back to be patient, my friends. Just be patient. Finally, Mr. Failed economist himself, Paul Krugman, excuse me, the man who said by 2005 or so, it will become clear that the internet's impact on the economy has been no greater than the fax machines. He said this in 1998. Well, the clown of clowns himself, he's now saying, hey guys, crypto is going to become the new subprime. So many of you know about the subprime mortgage issue that was part of the big 2008 crash, right? He's comparing crypto to that. So he's on his soapbox now trying to go anti-crypto, but he's very much a old school, economist. Fiat is king. Don't mess with the traditional financial world, right? He's one of the incumbents, and who knows? He could be getting paid to write all this stuff, right? You never know. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. But once again, he's going to be completely wrong. Crypto's here to stay. And what these guys try to do, they fearmonger and they scare the public. Like, oh my God, crypto's in a bubble. It's going to crash like 2008. To my previous example, the dot-com boom. Lots of jobs, lots of money made, and then that bubble popped. Well, so did the real estate market pop. Every market goes through bubbles, especially in an early side where, once again, heavy speculation. Then it normalizes, right? Then it goes back to, okay, let's weed out get the froth out and get the crap out, right? Because there are legitimate projects and there are not legitimate projects. So that's true for every market, even in the stock market, and it's true for crypto. There are incredible technologies in this market that are going to be massive and be doing great things and have a great future. I always do the analogy of the Googles, the Apples, the Amazons, and so forth, and the eBays, right? The Netflix and so forth. And then there was pets.com. So this is how the boom and bust cycles work, and innovation and speculation. You can't get around it. So what these guys want to do is focus on the negative and scare the public. But I hope you are doing your own research. You're not just taking even my word for it, because I'm here to make money. I'm sure many of you are, and I hope you're doing your own research. You're reading up and you're taking a look at things and examining it. And you're looking not just from the price or the headlines, but who's making a move, who's investing, who's merging, making acquisitions, who's building, what are they doing, who's getting adoption, so on and so forth. And obviously what the government's doing. And we've been covering that over and over. So guys, let me know what you think about this news coming out of Arizona. Very, very bullish news. And it all starts with Bitcoin, and then all coins will follow. You'll see that adoption over time. So leave your thoughts and comments below, hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I'll talk to you all later.